Hi, this is Len, and welcome to the Kindle Chronicles. Today is November 22nd, and I'm preparing the show in Cambridge, Massachusetts. My guest this week is Natalia Montuori. She is General Manager for Kindle Unlimited and Prime Reading.
There's so many types of readers. There's so many reasons. And so what we're just trying to do is make a service that's really valuable and compelling to delight readers.
I spoke with her this week from Seattle. I wanted to catch up with changes that have been made in Kindle Unlimited since the program was first introduced. I've been a member ever since. And also about Prime Reading, which is the selection of books that you can get if you are a Prime member, but you haven't paid the $9.99 for Kindle Unlimited. Also have some news, interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about how Amazon is turning into a CEO factory for the rest of the tech industry. Alexa seems to be gaining on Google, and I'll have some highlights from what kinds of savings Amazon has got in store for Black Friday. First up in news is a well-researched and well-written story by Dana Mattioli in the Wall Street Journal on November 20th, 2019. It's titled, Amazon Has Become America's CEO Factory. The reason I say there was a lot of research on this is the reporter contacted at least 14 former Amazon executives who are now CEOs elsewhere or entrepreneurs starting their own companies. It lists the number of years that they were at Amazon and the most recent title. And they did some interviews with these people, which gave an idea of why Amazon is leading to creation of other opportunities for people that have trained in the Amazon philosophy under Jeff Bezos, but also what was that culture at Amazon that they left. And in the process, there's some criticism of the harshness of the Amazon culture. I think more than one of these former Amazon executives said that they brought a lot of the things they learned at Amazon, but they tried to leave the sense that it's a culture which doesn't prize social cohesion over originality of thought and getting to the right answer. And that echoes some of the things you hear from time to time, that it's a challenging culture. And but I'll have a link to it in the show notes, and some of the takeaways that I had from reading it, one thing I noticed was that they did have comments from Amazon, which I was glad to see, pushing back on some of these descriptions of the culture. And one came from Jeff Wilke. He said, I really like our culture. He said it's not for everyone. You know, he's a very reasonable person, and his I wouldn't say rebuttal, but feedback on what the reporter was saying I thought was reasonable. I think it also shows, it's another indication that perhaps Jeff Wilke is being positioned to be the heir to Jeff Bezos if Jeff decides to head off and do Blue Origin and some of his other activities full time. And that's something I picked up at that Remars event in Las Vegas, where he seemed to have a more prominent role on the program, even though Jeff Bezos was there and attended one session. So Jeff Wilke had some good comments in here. The other thing is it really emphasized the importance of the 14 leadership principles. I hear about them all the time when I'm talking to people from Amazon, and they can quote them. You know, it's clearly not just things which get hung on a wall. And you're going to hear from Natalia how the principles, the philosophy principles, actually have a role in the interviewing. And that's also mentioned in the Wall Street Journal article. The other thing I thought about after reading the article is, you know, hearing a loose talk about breaking up Amazon, breaking up tech companies, especially on the campaign trail. And I think that if it's true that Amazon is generating entrepreneurial and management talent that spreads out into other parts of the corporate sector in the U.S., if you break up the company, you have an impact on the company, and maybe you would be killing the golden goose that is bringing so much innovation out into other companies. Kind of a secondary effect that could come from an unskillful way of regulating Amazon and some of the other companies. They make comparisons with GE, and in my day, GE was played the same kind of role, that if you had done time at GE, that was almost as good as going to Harvard Business School. You learned the GE way and Jack Welch's philosophy, and GE no longer has that role. It's fallen on hard times, and that's another indication that just because you're big like GE or Amazon, there's no guarantee that your impact lasts forever. The comments about Amazon's culture raised this issue of is it a culture that is kind of light on empathy, that because you're asked to be challenging and to be able to tolerate difficult conversations on behalf of the customer and on behalf of innovation, that it's a tough place to work. In the people I talk to, I don't get that impression. And when I talked to Brad Stone, the guy who wrote The Everything Store, I think when I asked him that, he said, I hear both ways of it being described. Some people really like the culture. Other people say, yes, it is very tough, very stressful. And that, I think, echoes what Jeff Wilke said in his quote as well. It's a tribute to how Bezos has embedded the culture throughout the company. I think in this article, that's not the main point, but it's inescapable when you see everyone referring to these 14 leadership principles. And then also just ways of managing, like the 6-page memo that starts out a meeting on a new project, and people read it for a half an hour in silence, and the 2 pizza groups that you're not supposed to have a cross-functional group that can't be fed with 2 pizzas. Things like this are now becoming part of other companies' ways of doing things because they got their start at Amazon. Second article I noticed this week, I had thought Google was gaining on Alexa, and I think as it first came out with its devices, I've got one on my desk here, the Google Assistant, very attractive, and the AI seems very smart. But this story that I saw in CNET by Corinne Reichard quoted a market estimate by a company named Canalys, Canalys, in Portland, Oregon. And that's a company that I guess does research and estimates of share on technology channels. And for the third quarter of 2019, they estimated that Amazon shipped 10.4 million Echo devices. This is worldwide. And that was a 66% increase from a year earlier. By comparison, Google only shipped 3.5 million devices, and that was a decline of 40%. Amazon was also shipping way more of the smart speakers than Alibaba, 3.9 million, Baidu, 3.7 million, and XIAOMI, I don't know how to say that, 3.4 million. So combined, those 3 Chinese companies did sell more smart speakers than Amazon, 11 million compared with 10.4 million. But the Amazon growth rate is pretty high at 66%. Those Chinese companies are growing even faster from a smaller base, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of competition coming from there. The analyst at Canalys attributed the better results for Alexa and Echo to the Echo upgrade program. There's been a lot of new devices that were rolled out when I was out there in Seattle, and the Echo Studio speaker should be shipping pretty soon. I'll be really interested to see how that turns out. And then also the Prime Day promotions, which really give the Echo devices a boost. The third story is Black Friday sales. I got a press release dated November 18th that laid out some of the things that are coming. And when I went through that, I could see that there are some pretty good Echo promotions that are already in effect today, November 22nd, and they'll be lasting through Black Friday, the Friday after November. And I'm sure there'll be other sales as well. The way you can find these deals, and I'll have a link to it in the show notes, you just go to Amazon.com/Black Friday. And then you can kind of filter. You can check on active, which means show me the deals that are now current. You can check on upcoming, the deals that are coming. And then you can click on Amazon devices if you just want to see Fires, Kindles, Echoes, things like that. When I took a particular look at the Echo devices, the Echo Dot 3rd generation, now I think that's the one not the most recent one, which is coming out, which enables you to see in a digital readout on the exterior of the dot itself what the time is. This is the one just before that. It normally sells for $50, and the Black Friday price, which is now available, is $35. So that's a $15 savings. And if you buy 3 of them, you only pay $64.97. Echo Show 5, that's the new smaller Echo Show, an Echo with a screen. It's selling for $80 compared to $90, the normal price, savings of $10. And the Echo Show 8 is selling for $100, a $30 decrease from the price of $130. There are also 3 good deals on Kindles. If you've been waiting to upgrade your Kindle to the holiday pricing, you can take advantage of some of this right now. The Paperwhite is on sale for $85, and it normally sells for $130. That's a savings of $45. That's the 8 gigabyte model with special offers, Wi-Fi only, and you also get a $5 ebook credit when you use that. There's also an even more attractive price on the Essentials bundle for the Paperwhite. That gets you the Paperwhite, a power adapter, and a nice leather cover for $125. The basic Kindle is the price has been cut $30, so you can get one of those for $60 compared to the regular price of $90. We just passed the anniversary of the introduction of the Kindle, which was $399, but now on Black Friday you can buy one for $60. That is a whole lot easier to navigate than that original Kindle. I'm sure some of you, like me, had one of those. The Oasis, they have a special on the Oasis previous generation. This is not the one that came out I think a little while ago, that has a sepia color screen. It has more LED lights, and this is, they call it the previous generation, 9th generation Oasis, and it's selling for $150. Normal price $250, so that's a savings of $100 off, or 40%. That's a pretty stunning price on that Oasis. And that previous Oasis, I think you'd be hard pressed to really tell the difference from the one that just came out, except for the screen color. And so that'd be a nice way to get into the Oasis, the top of the line model. The new Oasis, they're not discounting, and that's $270 in the sort of minimum configuration. So lots of deals. Fire tablet. The only Fire tablet I could see on this list was the basic Fire 7 tablet. Pretty amazing price, too. It normally sells for $50. You can pick up one of those for $30, $20 off. That's just a good basic little tablet. You can read your books on it and color, and you can read magazines, you can watch TV shows, and all that for $30. Pretty amazing. For the tech tip this week, I want to do a comparison for you of the Echo Buds, which I think I got it last week or so, and the AirPod Pro. That's the Apple version of the Buds. So they both come kind of within a week of each other, which gave me a chance to try them out. The Echo Buds came first, and I'll have to say I'm disappointed with them. I've had to call tech support 3 times to get help having it connect with Bluetooth, so that when I take them out of the case, they actually work, and I can see them in the Alexa app and see what the battery life is. I think one of the problems is that they come just with a bud that goes in the ear, and then there's something called wings, and these are kind of rubber things which you put around them, and they create a little nub that helps plant the Echo Bud in your ear a little more firmly, so that if you're jogging, it wouldn't fall out. I thought this was a good idea, because when I had it in without the wings, it did fall out of my ear. But when I have these wings on the buds, they don't seem to connect with the charger adequately. So some of my problems have been that even though I've got it plugged in for a long period of time, they just aren't getting charged. The other thing is they're really big. It just feels like you're putting a whole big thing of... I always put wax in my ear when I swim, and it feels like one of these big wads of wax that I put in my ear when I'm swimming up at Ocean Park. And so they feel a little bit more intrusive, and I don't really like that. when they were working, the audio quality seemed to be quite good. You can double tap and get noise cancellation. There's Bose technology. I think there's a lot of technology in here. But in sort of a consumer friendliness dimension, they really don't stand up very well with the AirPods Pro. Now, the price, of course, Echo Buds are $130, AirPods Pro are $250. So for $120 more, you get a white case that's noticeably smaller than the Echo Buds charging case. And when you take the AirPod out, there's no wings or anything that you have to add. It's just a little rubber tip, and if you want a smaller or a bigger one, there's extras in the case, the box, so that you can use them. But you just put them in, and if you've got an iPhone, they just pair. I mean, there's a couple of taps on the screen to set it up, and then it's just totally paired. Rock solid. I haven't had any trouble with it unpairing or not working. And they're very light in the ear. I mean, you can almost forget that you have them in the ear. The quality seems really great, and they're really quite an elegant product. I read somewhere recently that, I think it was James McQuivey perhaps, was saying that Amazon probably decided that it couldn't keep up with Apple on something like an iPhone, because Apple is just putting so much resources into setting the standard for some of these hardware devices like a phone. I think the same thing is pretty clearly evident here on the battle of the AirPods or AirBuds, because the Apple product is just so elegant and so rock solid that the Echo Bud looks like it doesn't really measure up. Now, the one thing the Echo Bud has, and really it's probably the genesis of it, is that it has Alexa, so that when it was working, I could just say Alexa and give a command, and it would, the other devices in my house would not respond. It would respond in my ear, so it was fairly synchronized that way. So if I was really looking for a convenient way to have Alexa in my ear, that would be a reason to keep trying to figure out how to make this thing work and do it, because that's something that the AirPods can't do. But my situation is I've got Echo devices in just about every room of the house, and then when I'm out of the house, the main place I go is my car, and I've got Echo Auto, and that has its own problems, but it's fairly reliable, and I can be driving along and ask to, what's new, and hear my morning journal entry that I just created. So I don't really need Alexa in my ears, and therefore there's really no reason to use the Echo Buds compared to these really elegant Apple, the AirPods Pro. If you've tried either of these, I'd love to hear your experience. You can send me an email at podchronicles@gmail.com. Time now for the interview. Natalia Montuori joined Amazon in March 2013 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, where she was responsible for Kindle Direct Publishing. 2 years later, she joined the KDP team based in Seattle and focused on author acquisition and engagement globally. Since July 2017, she has led Kindle Unlimited and Prime Reading. Before joining Amazon, Natalia worked in various companies in China and for the Boston Consulting Group in Brazil. She has a BA in East Asian Studies from Yale and an MBA from Wharton. I spoke with her in Seattle by Skype and phone on Wednesday, November 20th, and I began by asking her why she decided to go to work for Amazon 6 years ago.
I was working for the Boston Consulting Group in Brazil at the time, and I had read that Amazon was coming to Brazil. I had been an Amazon customer during my MBA and liked the company a lot, but it wasn't necessarily in vogue as much as it is now for MBA graduates. And when I reached out to the company as they were just getting their presence in Brazil, I met some of the people there. I talked to some of my classmates who had joined Amazon in Seattle. And I think I was just drawn at that point to a true, sort of startup environment. They hadn't even launched in Brazil when I had my first conversations with them, just to give you an idea. That was in October of 2012. They launched in December 2012. I joined March 1st, 2013.
That's interesting because when I graduated from Harvard Business School many years ago, everybody's going to Wall Street, and in a more recent period, technology companies. But at that time, was Amazon perceived more as a retailer than a technology company that might be a little more exciting for an MBA to go to work for?
Yeah, and I think in general, when I graduated from business school, which was 2011, there weren't as many people going into technology, full stop.
Uh-huh.
They were still doing some of, finance, hedge funds, private equity, a little bit less on the banking side, a lot to consulting. Also on the corporate side, they would go more into brand management / marketing for consumer companies.
Right.
And we did have, I recall, I think about 5 or 6 people who went from my class to Amazon in the ops program or as you mentioned, like a retail leadership development program.
The interview process, I've heard some people say, is pretty intensive. You talk to more than one person and you get asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What was the most probing and perhaps skillful question you got asked in that process?
Oh, good. Oh, I'm trying to remember now. I remember it so vividly that day. There were a lot of questions and for one particular interview that centered around the customer. And the customer, the way Amazon treats the customer, the end customer, the customer clicking the buy button, consuming Amazon retail products, or in our case, reading Kindle books, it was just not a stakeholder that I'd had a lot of contact with in my career. And so they gave me a few scenarios, and I tried my best to work through those scenarios. But most of the customers that I've had to date had either been clients through like an agency relationship, or consulting clients, or internal stakeholders. So it was a little bit of a different way to think about the end customer, but it's also super exciting, and which is something that people love about working at Amazon, that no matter what level you are, what business you're in, you are asked to and encouraged and inspired to be customer obsessed.
Well, that's interesting. You can see that it starts even with conversations with people who haven't joined the company yet. So,
oh yeah,
that would make sense. Well, now Kindle Unlimited started in July of 2014, about 5 years ago. 600,000 Kindle titles, thousands of audio books. I think I signed up as soon as it was available. I was very intrigued by the idea, and I use it. We might have a chance to talk about my experience of it. I'm glad I have it, and I probably buy or borrow maybe 5 books a month from my Kindle Unlimited subscription, and I'm always sort of kicking off one of the 10 books that I have to make room for the new one, and I very seldom actually read the books that are on my list of 10 books. But it still feels valuable to me because I get a chance to try a book without having to pay for it because I've got the Kindle Unlimited. But I guess I'm just sharing that as the context for although I've been a member of Kindle Unlimited, I haven't been following it as intently as I'm sure you have in your role as general manager. So it'd be a good chance just to give an overview of how has the program evolved in the last 5 years. What are the highlights in terms of the scale and the offerings in it now compared to then?
Since the launch, the Kindle Unlimited team has remained focused on delighting customers with books that they'll love. That's the premise of the program, right? And we can do that in lots of ways. So we do that in one way through the catalog itself. So the catalog has evolved from 600,000 Kindle titles to over 1 million titles. The authors that are part of the Kindle Unlimited ranks have evolved as well. We have books from Dean Koontz. We have Tolkien, Andy Weir, Jodi Picoult, all sorts of new authors are coming on to the scene that weren't necessarily there as part of our launch. That's something that keeps the program exciting. In many cases, we also have exclusive titles, so titles that you can only find on Kindle, and those are available in Kindle Unlimited as well. We have some celebrity authors coming onto the scene next year, like Mindy Kaling, which are exciting for customers as well. We've signed on some new publishers, which means new authors. Some of the popular ones over the last year have been Daniel Silva, Neil Gaiman, Joanna Gaines, for example. That's on the ebook side, Len. We continue to grow our audiobook catalog. We continue to grow our comics offering, which wasn't a big part of our launch, but we had, for example, one of the favorites last year was Black Panther, which was pretty fun to have a movie tie-in. That's something that, that's a reader moment that we see as well. Folks who want to read the book or the comic related as it relates to the movie. The last point I'll call out, Len, is around the magazines.
Yeah.
So that we didn't have magazines when we launched. We launched in 2016, and we have a rotating catalog of magazines. And it really helps us be part of different reader moments, right? Whether you're sitting down to do a long, binge read of a series, or you want something light for the airplane, we want to be able to offer readers a wide range of content.
Now, and actually, what led to my asking if there'd be somebody like you I could talk to is I noticed on my iPhone Kindle app, probably last month, I got a notification that was highlighting the magazines that were available that month and saying that each month the selection of magazines changes. And I hadn't realized that. I knew there were magazines, but I thought it was maybe just a steady selection of them, and I frequently use the New Yorker when it showed up. But what can you say about how much that list changes each month, and how do you decide when to drop a magazine, when to add a magazine to the list?
Yeah, there are new magazines all the time. Like each week there are new magazines coming into the program. What we try to do is offer a wide selection. So we'd have something for home, we'd have something for fashion, we'd have something for travel, and that appeals to a wide range of interests. You mentioned the New Yorker. That one in particular has been in twice this year, for example. We've had other ones that have come in and out. And so again, we're just trying to connect with readers in a wide range of moments. For when they might sit down and want to open their Kindle app to read.
When I counted the magazines that are available this month, November, I counted 61. Does that number, the total available, change much each month?
Yeah, you're about right. It's about 60, 65 each month.
Yeah.
The other thing, Len, I'll just add on the magazine type content front is we added a new feature called articles, where we've sourced interesting, timely articles from different magazines, like things like, a Marie Kondo article, a health and wellness article, and we've put those on what we call the Kindle Unlimited storefront. So it's Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited, and you'll see there a row of articles at any given time.
Okay, so when I go Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited, then is articles one of the categories that I can click on, or how would I find those single articles?
It would be one of the rows there that you would have.
Yeah.
We've also included articles as well as magazine features in our weekly newsletter. So Kindle Unlimited customers can sign up to receive a weekly personalized newsletter where we talk about some new content in the program. We make some recommendations that relate to books that you've read in the past. And we include new additions like, we have this magazine, or now we have these articles. And if folks are in Kindle Unlimited and for some reason aren't signed up to that newsletter, they can go to the same place that I just mentioned, Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited. And there is a little tab right under the big banner that says join the newsletter. And you can click on that, and it'll take you to a page where you opt in to receive those emails.
Aha. Well, that's a good tip. I didn't know about that. So now I'm on that page. I see Kindle Unlimited, and along the top I see Kindle Unlimited Prime Reading. Where's
right under the banner? Do you see that banner that's rotating?
Oh, yeah. Browse the catalog, manage your membership, and then join so click on join the newsletter.
Yep.
And then I'm just going to Kindle Unlimited. So I just click that button. And so now it's part of, and I do subscribe to some of the other newsletters from Amazon, and now that's activated as one that I receive. Mm-hmm. But now, does it turn orange if I've selected it or if I haven't selected it? Oh, no.
So I think, I think orange if you have. I don't have mine open right now.
Yeah, okay. So I think I was actually subscribed. So that's not weekly. It doesn't seem like it shows. Does it show up just occasionally?
It shows about once a week.
It does, okay.
Yeah, we have there's different versions of it that go out depending on different customer groups.
Right. And so if I subscribe to it, I'm going to see things in the newsletter that take into account how I'm actually using my Kindle Unlimited subscription?
Yep. But the other thing I'll say, Len, is we want to show you that, right? Because we want it to be customized for you. But what we also hear from customers is, show me something different.
Right.
That's why I'm part of Kindle Unlimited, not to just read one kind of book, but to have a little bit of freedom without necessarily having to, spend more money, but I can browse different categories. I personally have used the service like that, and we hear that from customers as well.
Yeah. One thing I like about the magazines that show up, you've got two different views. One is sort of the Kindle view. It's just the text, and you can read it like you would a Kindle book. And then I don't know what you call the other view. It looks more just like a PDF of the actual magazine page. What do you call those two views?
Well, it's the Reflowable View.
Yeah. The Reflowable is more like reading a Kindle book. It doesn't have all the art in it. And then the other one is like a page view that looks more like you're just looking at the print magazine.
Mm-hmm. Like a replica.
Yeah. And I find it nice to be able to switch between those two views because sometimes it's pleasing to see how a magazine has taken the time to lay out an article, but then other times I just want to read the words, and it's my choice. I can just switch between the two. You said that the magazines start showing up in 2016, so 3 years. What kind of customer reaction have you had to adding magazines to Kindle Unlimited?
Customer reaction has been positive. With magazine editions and all of the other editions that we've made, people like the variety. I remember one customer anecdote that I got was it's just nice to see different things coming in. That's what keeps the program fresh and exciting. And that's what we're working on as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another thing I don't think I noticed when it happened, when Kindle Unlimited started, I think it was just available in the U.S., but at this point, I take it's available overseas as well?
Yeah, it's available in 13 marketplaces. So UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, India, China, Japan, Brazil, Mexico, Canada, and Australia.
And so in each of those markets, the Kindle Unlimited selection would be in that language and tailored to the readers in those markets, I assume.
Correct. And then when customers sign up, they're paying in their local currency.
Right. Oh, interesting. I think one challenge I've felt in Kindle Unlimited is just knowing how many things I could take advantage of and read, but how to find them. There are some general categories, but I think sometimes I'm thinking, well, who are the Jodi Picoult or Andy Weir level authors versus there's many authors that would be less well known because they're coming in through Kindle Direct Publishing, I assume. So what are some of the ways the team has come up with just to help a busy reader find what they might really enjoy reading in Kindle Unlimited?
Yeah, so a couple of things. So I talked about the newsletter. That's one. Yep. The other one is just the storefront, right, that we're constantly curating. So Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited, that will be that storefront. Another thing that we hear from customers and readers is they, like you said, they really want to find their favorite authors. So we've worked to integrate Kindle Unlimited with different features in the Kindle store in Amazon. So I'll give an example of one that centers around authors. Today, if you go on to, say, a book page on Amazon, let's say you go Wool by Hugh Howey. Right. His name is a hyperlink. When you click on his name, you go to his page. And when you go to his page, you have the option of following him as an author. So there's a button called Follow. When you follow an author, you're basically saying, I'm interested in this author. And if you're a Kindle Unlimited member, when that author adds a new book to Kindle Unlimited, you'll hear from us. Through either an in-app notification or an email. And so it's pretty cool when you give us, you follow all these authors that we're able to then tell you this new book is in the service. Because like I told you, we're working really hard to add new books to the service all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's smart. And you would alert me to the fact that because Hugh might have a new book that isn't available through Kindle Unlimited, and you'd only use that notification for me if it was one that was.
Well, I would tell you he has a new book available, but I wouldn't say that it's in Kindle Unlimited unless it is.
Oh, I see. Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, that's good. Any other tools that we can use to, you get the newsletter, you got the storefront and the notifications. Anything else that helps people find KU books that they're going to love?
Yeah, for e-reader customers and in-app customers, we have one sort of curated view called Based on Your Reading in Kindle Unlimited. Mm-hmm. And so you'll see, again, books that are in the program that we recommend to you based on books that you've read in the past. I personally get a lot of recommendations out of that particular, what we call a placement. So that's another one to watch out for. So in the app or on e-reader, we have lots of customized recommendations for customers. So that's another place that they can go to.
So if I'm on my iPhone Kindle app, where would I find that?
So did you go to Discover?
Okay, Discover, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then there's Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
So tap on that, and that's showing me new and notable. Oh, also there's.
Oh, that's showing you the storefront.
Okay. Oh, that's my that's another way to get to the storefront when I'm actually on my device. Mm-hmm. And if I was reading my Fire tablet, a Kindle book on my Fire tablet, there'd be a similar way to navigate to the Kindle Unlimited storefront.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, all right. This is good. I'm glad I got you, and I can ask all these questions, so I can be a power user.
Let's say a new customer, right?
Right.
So when a new customer signs up, we also have a selection of 3 to 5 titles, right in their sign-up flow that we think that they'll be interested in, so they can immediately start picking a few books and to start their membership.
Oh, okay. And you're going to be able to suggest those based on what they've bought for other books, or?
We can suggest based on what they've done in the past. We can suggest on things that are popular from other readers. Lots of different ways that we can do that.
Yeah, good. Now, it's still $9.99 a month, as it was at the beginning. And in terms of a break even, I guess that kind of depends on the average cost of books that if you bought them instead of used them through Kindle Unlimited, you'd be buying them, and you might have some sense of how many books you'd have to read in a month in order to make KU break even. But what kind of guidance do you give customers on that question?
Yeah, I think it's, obviously it's a very personal decision. There are books in Kindle Unlimited that are $9.99. So if you just read that book, you're good. The other thing I'll say is we have a 30-day free trial. We have other introductory offers. So for folks who are just trying to figure out whether this is the right service for them, you can do that at a lower price point.
Right. I imagine by this time the most common reason somebody tries a 30-day subscription to Kindle Unlimited, sticks with it. I think in my own case, I like it as a way to kind of it's like a long sample. It gives me a chance to try books without buying them book by book. So it's not really turning out to be a way that I read a lot of books, but I'm using it more for discovery. Is that a common reason that people are attracted to the program and stay with it?
Yeah, that's one reason. Another one is, the books that I love these series. Kindle Unlimited has lots of series, and that's valuable to me. I love it for trips. That's when I do a lot of reading. I don't want to think about the price tag on every single purchase that I make. I just want to be focusing on, trying different books. Mm-hmm. I feel less guilty if I don't like something because, I can quickly go to something else.
Right.
There's so many types of readers. There's so many reasons. And so what we're just trying to do is make a service that's really valuable and compelling to delight readers.
My wife is a voracious reader of mysteries, and I assume that you've got a robust library in that genre. But what can you say in general terms about how much good stuff a mystery lover is going to find at Kindle Unlimited?
It's definitely one of a popular genre within the service. So I'd love to get her feedback and tell her. She can tell me how we're doing.
Okay, good. She's a little shy when I say, "Hey, I want to see what's on your Kindle so I can talk about it on the show." I don't always get a positive reaction from that, so I'd have to couch it carefully. Well, now, one thing that I think is probably still the true as it was with the beginning of Kindle Unlimited is that none of the big five publishers were making their titles available. Is that still the case?
No, we actually have had participation from big five publisher.
Oh.
One example is HarperCollins.
Mm-hmm.
And we have other publishers as well that have been involved in the program, like Houghton Mifflin, Norton, and Open Road are other good examples.
Right. And some of the, maybe the big four. So there are some that just aren't participating at this point.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. I suppose you'd say ask them, but what's your sense of why they aren't participating?
Well, we invite all authors and publishers to participate in Kindle Unlimited. So I guess you're right, Len. You probably would have to ask them.
Okay. And then Amazon Publishing books are available, I assume.
Yeah, all of those are in Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah. Well, another thing that you're general manager of is Prime Reading, launched in October 2016. What is that program?
So Prime Reading is a benefit for Prime members. So if you have a Prime membership, you have access to over 1,000 ebooks, audible narrations, magazines, and comics through your Prime membership. And that's a catalog that rotates as well. And it's another benefit for Prime customers.
And is that the same setup so that as long as you're choosing from that list of 1,000 titles, you could have up to 10 at any one time in your Prime Reading library?
Correct.
I'm a Prime member and I'm paying the $9.99. I still only get 10 books at a time, but I'm drawing on that million-plus titles as opposed to the 1,000 titles, right?
Correct.
Yeah, everything else would work the same. It's just the number of titles that I can choose from.
Yep.
Okay. How about Amazon First Reads? That's one I really like. It's where Amazon Publishing kind of gives a sneak peek at some books. But what's the essence of that program?
Yeah, so that program is an early access program. Editors pick around 6 titles a month. And if you're a Prime member, you can download one of those books for free.
That's not a rotating on and off a list. That's just you, as if you bought it.
Yeah, and it's a calendar. It operates in a calendar month.
Okay, so if you don't get it during the month it's offered, that would be your last chance to get it for free.
Correct, and then you can still buy the book once it's sort of officially published after that month. You can get that book in Kindle Unlimited. You can still have access to the book, but just the First Reads program is really about the early access.
Yeah. One thing I like about it is that I think the Amazon Publishing editor who has worked with the book usually writes a kind of a personal statement about finding the book, working with the author. So if you read that and you can read the descriptions of the books in the various genres, I feel like you get kind of an inside look at the book, and then you can say, great, I'm interested and I'm going to be able to read this before anybody else.
Totally. I like it as well.
Yeah. I bet you're pretty busy, but what are some great books that you've read recently that you'd like to recommend?
So my favorite book this year has been Weight of Ink by Rachel Kadish. It was included in Kindle Unlimited over the summer, and I devoured it. I actually ended up taking a day extra of vacation just so I could finish it before going back to work. It was so good, Len. If you haven't read it, you have to read it. It's awesome storytelling, historical insights. It's really moving, just really, really well done.
And it's a novel, a historical
it's a
novel?
Historical fiction novel.
What period is it, or situation is it set in?
Multiple periods, because it kind of has like a current moment and then it sort of harks back into history.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little bit of that time, that time lapse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things where there's so much uncovering in the narrative. So there's multiple things going on. There's a story of a historian that's about to retire. There's a story of a young historian. There's a historical figure and how she's navigating a world in which she's very curious about a lot of things. But there are a lot of limitations for what women can do in that time period. There's a lot of things, kind of mixed in. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I really recommend it.
I think that's a good way to recommend a book these days, is it's so good you had to take a day off from work to finish it.
Yeah, it was totally worth it.
That's good. Anything else that you're reading or?
Yeah, after that I went and read another book by the same author, also in Kindle Unlimited, called Tolstoy Lied, which I really love that title.
Yeah.
I've read a couple of sci-fi futuristic stories in Kindle Unlimited from a series called Forward. And it's not the kind of stuff I normally read. But what was cool about it was just so different, sort of, avatars and just computer generated beings, basically. Yeah. And it's not normally what I read, but it also sucked me in, which is good.
Yeah.
The other one, let's see, I've read a couple of Joan Didion books that were in Kindle Unlimited. I really love her work. I love her essays, and we've had lots of her work in the program over the last year. Oh,
that's great. Yeah, she's a terrific writer. Great. Well, anything about Kindle Unlimited or Prime Reading that we didn't mention? I'm sure you can't announce any future plans, although feel free if you'd like to.
Yeah, I can't announce future plans, so you know the gist.
Right.
What I can say is that we've kicked off our holiday deals, which are just go on to Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited if you're not in the program, and you'll see holiday offers there. For folks who are already in Kindle Unlimited, we are discounting our 6, 12, and 24-month membership. And you can do that by, again, going to the same place, Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited, and choosing Extend Your Membership.
Oh, I see. So these are special deals for the holidays. Mm-hmm. I wonder if I'm paying annually or monthly. I suspect I'm probably paying what's the...
If you go to Amazon.com/KU Central, you'll be able to see what kind of plan you're on.
Yeah. /KU Central. That's another good URL to know. So that kind of shows me. Okay. So I'm on 1 month. And it renews at $9.99 a month. I think I'm probably going to stick with it. So would it be a good idea for me to switch to an annual or even a 2-year?
Yeah. You'll get it at a discount.
How would I do that?
Go back to Amazon.com/Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
Where you were before. And right under that banner where you saw join the newsletter, you'll see Extend Your Membership.
Yeah, I got that.
Click on that.
Uh-huh.
Do you see something now?
Oh, okay. So I can get, all right. So it says offer valid. Oh, this is maybe your holiday offer. So the 24 months, if I extend that for $143.80, that's the new offer that you've got?
Yeah.
Okay. Any idea what that would have been before the offer?
Well, it'll be the $9.99 times 24, so $240.
Okay, I can do the math on that. That's the benefit of there. All right, I'm in real time. See, you're going to get some credit for adding some revenue here. I have clicked on it and redeemed the offer there. So, all right, that's good. I have been speaking with Natalia Montuori, Amazon's General Manager for Kindle Unlimited and Prime Reading. Thanks very much, Natalia.
Thanks for having me.
As a follow-up to the interview, I'd recommend that if you're interested in extending your Kindle Unlimited membership, I'll have a link in the show notes for where to go. You look for Extend Your Membership, and these are prices that are valid through December 31st. What I signed up for was a 24-month extension that starts when my current month is concluded at $9.99, and I paid $239.76. If I had continued paying the $9.99, I would have paid $95.96 more. So I got a 40% savings for the next 2 years by taking advantage of that holiday deal. There's another good one for 12 months. You can save $39.58. That's 33% off. And then there's also a good one for 6 months. So I haven't seen a great deal of publicity about that, but if you follow the show notes, you'll be able to find those ways of extending your Kindle Unlimited membership if that's something that you'd like to do. And I have to say, in talking to Natalia, I'm much more plugged into the whole KU ecosystem, and I appreciate the improvements, and I think I'm probably going to be using it more than I have in the past. My guest next week is going to be another executive from Amazon. This is Sara Gelman. And Sarah's somebody I used to talk to a lot because she was in the PR department generally. In fact, I think she set up my first interview with Jeff Bezos in 2012. And now she's the head of the Amazon Books Group. So these are the people that get to read all the books, and they've just come out with their best books of 2019. And so I'll be talking to her next week, and she'll have a rundown for us on some of the books that they are highlighting in this very visible list of books, best books of the year in lots of different categories. Morning Journal is still having latency issues. I create it every morning religiously, and my father gets it right away because he's on my Amazon account. The rest of you, if you're subscribing, get it anywhere up to 17 hours later. So it's as if you're getting a morning journal from someone on Mars or something, and he's recording it every morning, and you hear it sometime after that. But I guess if you've dropped into that cycle, then I hope you're getting some value. I'm certainly enjoying doing it each morning, my little 2-minute observation as I begin the day. And if you are enjoying it and you'd like to leave a review at the Amazon Skills page, that would be terrific as well. And thanks to, I know at least 2 of you have done that, and much appreciated. This is Len Edgerly from Cambridge, Massachusetts. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.